Okay, well, welcome back, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and continue coloring in this garden page from Twilight Garden or Bloomster Mandala. And I think that's what it's called in the other one, but yeah, it's Twilight Garden. And in the previous video in part one, we just did a small short video and we just started coloring in these little leaves over here. So I had you guys watch me color this area here, and then I had you guys go ahead and finish these on your own. And now we're meeting back up because we're going to go ahead and tackle these other leaves here. So I think we'll get started with these guys over here, and then we'll work our way around. And I am using my Faber-Castell Polychromos, the 120 piece set. And I've chosen some colors beforehand, and I haven't tried them out yet, but these are just the colors that spoke out to me. So we probably won't be able to see them because of the lighting on the foil, but my first color that I'm going to be using, and all of these two will be listed in my description box if you guys can't see them on my camera, because the gold foil tends to wash out the colors. But my first color that I'm going to use in my Faber-Castell Polychromos set is going to be this May Green. Let me see if I focus and if it will let you guys see the colors. There you go. That might work a little bit. So there you go. I'm using May Green, and that is number 170. Okay, and then the next one I have is this Chromium Green Opaque, and that I believe is number 174. So let's see if I can get that shown on here. Probably not. And the next green that I'm using is an olive green Yellowish, number 175. So we got that there. Like I said, I know you probably won't be able to see the names very well, but I'll have all these colors listed in my description box. And then I've got two different browns that I'm going to use. First is Burnt Sienna, and that's number 285, so Burnt Sienna. And then I have a darker brown that I'm going to be using. It is called Burnt Umber, and that is number 230. So if you guys don't have these polychromos, feel free to use any other brand that you guys have, and just try to match up the colors as closely as you can. So let me go ahead and focus in here, and I'm going to move my camera closer and zoom in onto the area that we're going to be starting to work in. And we're going to start over here. So I'm going to adjust my camera and zoom in, and then we'll get started. Okay, so I've gotten the camera zoomed in to the area that we're going to start working in, and I'm going to start here with these leaves down here. That's in the lower left hand corner of this page, and we're going to start filling out these colors. And I am starting off using the olive green Yellowish, number 175, and we're just going to go ahead and lightly start filling out these leaves, add some colors. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some of this in there. I'm going to try to fill this out as much as I can. It is a darker area, so I would like it to be a little darker in those corner areas. And so I'm just softly adding color in. And I'm trying to use small circular strokes to get as much coverage as I can. I am leaving like a smidge bit, I don't know if you guys can tell, smidge bit of a highlighted area, like towards the edge of the lines, just to give it some, just to give our leaves a cool effect. So I'm just adding in, focusing on those darker corners in there and making sure I've got that color laid down in there. And I'm just using just a very, very light pressure, just enough so that I can have some of this olive green laid in there, and leaving a little bit of the areas, towards the top of the leaves, a little light. Just kind of like pretty much just leaving it alone and just adding the color to the, I would have to say probably the bottom parts of the leaves. We're just going to leave that there to give it some, like I said, some sort of highlight. And I'm going to come in and also make it lighter towards these three middle ones here on top, because I just want to give some dimension, some real good dimension to these leaves. And that's the purpose anyway. I have not practiced this prior, so what I'm doing, you know, what you guys are seeing me do so far is pretty much my first time just going in here and just kind of winging it. So hopefully you guys can follow me along. So just like I said, just a light touch just to add some color. You guys, I don't know if you guys are seeing that color very well on camera, but in front of you, I'm sure you guys are noticing it. So with these three leaves right here, I'm just lightly adding in some color, leaving those highlighted areas, and pretty much leaving, not adding any of this olive green to the tips right here. So I'm leaving these areas right here just uncolored, and you know, for these three front leaves here, and just focusing on like towards halfway of adding some of that color in. And I'm trying not to block your guys' camera view. I'm going to start on this other leaf here, and I'm going to fill that in since it is considered a tucked in darker area. And I'm just going to go ahead and add in my colors. So just watch what I'm doing and decide if you guys want to follow along doing this. So that's pretty much all I'm doing, just coloring this in. Light circular strokes and leaving some of that highlight area. Taking it one little leaflet at a time for this leaf. Like I said, focusing in a little bit on the corners and making sure I've got enough color in there, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not using heavy pressure or anything, just some light pressure. Just kind of giving the leaf a little bit of a base color. And so we've got 4 other colors to use, so there's 5 colors total that we're going to be using for these leaves. See, you guys can see just a little bit of wash of color on the leaves there, you know, from your camera view, but in person you guys will definitely see how the color is actually laid out in front of you. I really like this book. I love flowers and garden scenes and whatnot, so this was just a book that I totally fell in love with, and just one of those that I just had to have. So sometimes, you know, there are those books where I'm just like, nope, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. Okay, so you know, you guys can always pause. You know, it's the purpose of this video. So if I'm going too fast or too slow, just know, you know, what I'm doing. And if you guys are following along, you guys should be just fine. Okay, I'm trying to angle myself over here, and I'm going to work on this leaf here, this part of the leaf anyway. You know, towards those corners, of course, it's a little bit of a, you know, it's going to be a little darker, and I'm really focusing on getting that color in, getting those colors in, and like I said, lighter as I get to the middle parts. There we go. And the same technique is going to be used for the rest of, you know, the leaves that are of the same design. There we go. So it's all going to be the same for this design of leaves. Same technique, same colors, and Might block your vision here a little bit, but pretty much the same. Just adding in that color, filling in most of the corner leaves here. Especially towards the tucked in areas here at the bottom. And like I said, I'm trying my hardest to use circular strokes because it is a little tight area. But in that way, using circular strokes helps fill in the, the spaces and saturate more with color. I'm just basically going over the ones that I previously colored just because I'm eyeballing this, and I'm kind of just looking and seeing exactly if I needed to, just needing to see if I needed to add a little bit more color to the leaves. Okay, so that was our first step, and now we're going to move on, and we're going to use a lighter green. So the lightest green that we have was that May green. Okay, and now I'm just going to go over the leaves. So I'm just going to go over that just to add a little bit of lightness to that. So we're just blending colors pretty much. I know you guys probably couldn't see that. Alright, let me see. So just adding in this May green, going over the top of the previous color that we colored in, just going in with a very, very light touch. And I'm having issue with getting my camera or my hand out of the way. So let me see if I can adjust just a little bit more so you guys can see what I'm doing without my hand blocking. Okay, so I readjusted and zoomed in a little bit more so you guys can hopefully see it better. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add in my color, trying to come in here. And like I said, I'm just lightly going over with my May green to this previously colored areas. I am still getting used to using my polychromos. And I usually, in the past, I've been using my Prismacolor Premieres because they're so soft and buttery smooth, and the color laid down is just awesome when they blend. So this is actually another learning curve for me. And I'm blocking you guys' area again, so let's see. And I'm not trying to rush. I'm just taking my time. I mean, that's kind of like the whole point of coloring for relaxation, is not stressing over, having to rush. I know I've gotten some comments that my videos are a little bit slow, but that's the purpose of it, because there are some that really want to be able to sit down and color and watch a video that is pretty, pretty detailed instructions so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing, and I'm trying to explain as I go along as much as I can. I mean, there are other videos out there that they go a little bit faster than what I would do, and this is just the way how I color. So yeah, everyone has their own preferred techniques on coloring, and this is just how I do it. Like I've mentioned in my other videos before, I am not a professional colorist. I am not a professional artist. I'm just a hobbyist, I guess you would say. And I color because it's relaxing and it's a mind distraction, really. It's my own little personal therapy. Oh, there you go. So like I said, a very, very light touch of this May green to the previously laid down color. And give it a little brightness and just blending it in there. It will all come together once we're done and finished. So I think I need a little bit more of this May green over on this side of the sleeve. I'm just lightly going over that, just a tad bit more. There we go. So that's that, and that's what mine looks like so far. Hopefully your guys's looks the same. Okay, and now I'm gonna come in and pick up, I would have to consider this one of my other would it be the darkest one? Well, it would be pretty darker than the olive green, but this is my Chromium green Opaque, so I'm gonna come in with that. Let me see. I don't think it's gonna focus, but yeah. So my Chromium green Opaque number 174. I'm going to come in and really darken in a little bit more of those corner areas. Get this in. Just going to darken in those corner areas, especially those areas that, like I said, that are tucked in there. And you would imagine, you know, if you're looking down at a flower with some leaves, and of course they're hidden and there's some shadowing in there. Just adding some of that there, filling it in a little bit more. Just pretty much darkening up with different shades of green right now, because it really adds more depth to your coloring when you use different shades in your layering colors. That's my observation anyway, and what I've, you know, learned as I've been going through my coloring journey. Excuse me. So just darkening it in those corners, those lower parts in there. And I am still leaving these areas right here where, you know, we left it light previously. Just leaving it still pretty untouched and just focusing in on these in the lower half of the leaf. There we go. And it's very, very early for me this morning. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning. And here I am making this video for you guys. But I woke up and decided, hey, you know what? I am going to go ahead and get a video out to you guys so you guys don't have to wait so long. I don't normally do videos on the weekend either, because that's pretty much my only time that I get to spend with my fiance, because he works Monday through Friday and he doesn't get home till the evening. So usually during the weekdays I'm pretty free unless I've got doctor's appointments or other things going on. You know, we all have our personal life. So yeah. Okay, I'm kind of like looking back and forth between my my video and what's in front of me to make sure that it's coming out nicely for you guys, and I'm not trying to block too much of your camera view there. Yeah, so just go on in and just darken in those areas there, those shadow areas, those corner areas. Just darken it just a little bit more with the Chromium green. That's all that I'm focusing on right now. It's a corner, it's a little bit, you know, right down in the middle here. Just trying to get the color in there as even as I can. Oh, and I have my cat visiting me here in my craft room, so he's gonna start getting nosy and getting into everything. So background noise, that's my cat. He's a very, very nosy 2-year-old Siamese lynx point. Okay, so I'm just going to continue along here. Hopefully you guys are able to follow along. Yes, I hear you, Smudge. That's my cat's name, is Smudge. He's like trying to get my attention. Surprised he's not catnapping right now, given that I have just fed him his breakfast. I think that actually just fueled him a little bit more. Give him some energy. I have two cats now. I adopted my sister's year-and-a-half-year-old kitty. And so I have another cat here somewhere. She's out in the living room probably. It won't be too long until she comes and visits me here in the room. Once they know, they like to follow me wherever I'm at. So if I'm missing in the house, just try to find where the animals are, pretty much. If the animals are there, there's like a 98% chance that I'm in wherever part of the house I'm at, because they like to hang out with me. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to look at the areas here. Like I said, I still have, like I said, you're seeing these areas that have some white spots to it, and that's pretty much done on purpose. So I'm done with that, and now I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna use my burnt sienna number 285. Okay, I said I keep showing this to you guys. Oh, look at that. I guess you guys are seeing that. Okay, so burnt sienna. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this burnt sienna in these corners here, just to give it a little bit more shadows, and then some at the tips as well. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started on that. Real light touch is what I'm doing. I'm really making these leaves warm, in a warm tone. So it's just a smidgen of color that I'm adding, a little bit more of it towards the corners tucked in. See, right in these areas here, just a smidgen. Still using light pressure and circular strokes, and just a tiny bit up in those outer corners of the leaves. Not a lot, just a little bit. There you go. And like I said, for the rest of the leaves that are of the same design, it's going to be the same technique. Like I said, I didn't practice this prior to making this video. So what I'm seeing and what's coming out of what I'm coloring is pretty much what I'm seeing for the first time too. It's just pretty much what colors were screaming out to me to use, and yeah, so what you're seeing is all first time for me too. Okay, still just coming in and focusing on the tight little corners in here. Just adding a smidgen of the burnt sienna in those corners and some of the outer corners, and just like light layering. It's easier to add light layers than it is to take away the color. So that's another reason why I like to go in with just light layers. I think I need a little bit more in this area here. And as you can tell, I'm going back and forth with, with gauging how much color I actually want. So feel free to do that as well as you guys are going along and noticing, hey, maybe I can use a tad more of this color here just to even it out. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is how we all learn. It's pretty much by trial and error, right? So there we go. So you guys can see from, from your, if you're following along, of how the leaf is turning out. And I actually think it's turning out pretty well. I mean, pretty much what I've intended to do. I wanted it to be a warmer color. And remember, we still have one more color we're going to add on in here to the very corners of our leaf. So we're going to be darkening up those inner corners just a tad bit more. Oop, and I just totally blocked your guys' way there with trying to adjust myself. Haha, sorry about that, but that's all I was doing, just adding colors in. Same thing that I did with the other leaves. My cat is like getting very nosy, and he's in a corner of my room over here going through a box that I have not unpacked yet. He's very good at doing that to me. It's like his way of telling me, Mom, you need to get this done. Otherwise, I'm going to keep messing with it. Yeah, you know I'm talking about you, sir. So, yeah. So just continue along and just add smidgens of this burnt sienna to the inner corners of the leaf. And we're almost done with this part, and we have one more color we're gonna slap on here. I'm just gonna get some of this outer tips with a light layering of this burnt sienna. So it's I'm using a very light touch. There we go. Okay, so that's what I've gotten so far, and now, I mean, like I said, if I'm going too fast, just, feel free to pause and work at your own pace. That's what we make these videos for. And you guys are more welcome to do that. Okay, so now I picked up my burnt umber. Okay, so I'm using my burnt umber now, and this is the darkest of all the colors that I have chosen to use, and I'm going to be going in again in these inner corners only. So I'm just going in with, again, light pressure, and just layering over this burnt umber to give the leaf a little bit more dimension. And I'm having to look back and forth to my video because I'm trying so hard not to cover your camera view there. There we go. So just the inner corners is what I'm focusing at. Just a light layer. See, that's that one first leaf. So when I'm going to go over here now and continue working on this leaf. There we go. Circular motions. I'm still using a very light hand. Like I said, it's just those bottom tucked in corners that I'm focusing on adding this burnt umber to. Moving on to the next leaf over here. Are you guys now seeing the difference now of how the leaf is turning out to be? I mean, I definitely can. I mean, it just adds a little bit more life to it, and it's not, flat looking as, like if you just used one basic, color. That's just like if you just use one shade of green. There we go. So there. So that's that part. And if you guys wanted, to blend in your colors a little bit more, you take your lightest color. Like if you wanted to, blend some of those other colors in there, just take your lightest color and just lightly go over, your areas that you guys wanted blended in. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using the lightest color of the colors that I've chosen. So I'm using the May green, and I'm just lightly going over everything just to blend all the colors together. Also to, it's also helping cover in the rest of the white of the paper. So there you go. So, you just do this until engage it until you're satisfied with, what you're seeing on your page. There's no right or wrong. Just so pure enjoyment and relaxation. There's no rush or pressure. You just do it as you please, and until you're satisfied with what you're, what you're coloring. That's why I always like to use just light layers, because it's easier to add a layer of color than it is to take away any. So like I said, I'm just blending in everything else, all the colors together with just a very light touch of my main green. Let's see if I'm going to be able to put my hand over in this way so I can attack this leaf over here. This takes some getting used to, hopping from a soft core, like the wax-based pencils like Prismacolor, to a little bit, the harder ones like Faber-Castell. So yeah, I still have yet to learn all the proper techniques, but I'll get there. I'm not worried about it. All I can do is just practice and practice and learn, and learn along the way what works best when using these pencils. And there we go. So that's what we've came up with. So how do you guys like that so far? And that color and all of this, all the colors that we used on this design of leaves is going to be the same for the rest of the other leaves that are on this page that are the same design. So yeah, go ahead and on your own, just go ahead and fill in the rest of the same designs using the same technique. And let me see, we've got how many more areas? We got 1, 2, I'm counting on my page here. I think there's 3 other areas that have the same design. And yeah, so just go ahead and color that on your own, and just using the same techniques. You can just pause, stop, and do whatever you guys need to do, and then we'll meet up here again, and we will tackle the next set of leaves. Okay, I'll see you guys back here in a little while.